Well, hello there guys, and in this video we are going to learn about 2D arrays or two-dimensional arrays. So let me just tell you that a 1D array is basically a vector. So in the previous video we learned about the 1D array, or called vector. Now 2D arrays are basically matrices. So as you can see, this is here a diagrammatic representation of a 2D array. So this is the first row, this over here is the first row, this over here is the second row, and this is the first column, and this is the second column. So as you can see, each row has each columns. So here's the first row with the first column and second column, and the second row with the first column and the second column. This is how it is represented. So over here, this over here is row, and this is the column number. So 0th row, 0th column, or you can say first row, first column, and 0th row, second column, or you can say 0th row, column number 1, or you can say first row, second column. And similarly over here, this is the second row, first column, second row, second column, or you can say 1th row, 0th column, or 1th row, 1th column. So this is how a 2D array looks like, and you can have more dimensions, like you can, not dimensions, sorry, you can have more rows, more number of rows, more number of columns. So let me just get back to how we declare arrays, and then I'll show you that how the 2D arrays work. So I'm just gonna go for my console over here and change to my directory, because we'll be compiling some stuff, and it's an array, and here we go. So as you know from the previous video, we declare array like this, and with the size, let me just, yeah, now you can see it better. So as you know, we declare array like this. So this is a 1D array or a vector. Now for 2D arrays, we write like this. So this basically means an array named A with 2 number of rows and 2 columns in each row. So to initialize this array, we'll go like this. We'll start our initializations, and in between this we'll have, say, this is the row 1, and this is a row, this is a row 2, and inside this we will have the elements. So say for example, on the first element in my first column in my row 1 be 1, second column in my row 1 be 2, and in the row 2 I want my first column be 3 and second column be 4. And another way you can initialize is like you initialize those 1D vectors or 1D arrays like this. Say 0th row, 0th column equal to 1 for a 0th row, first column equal to 2. And similarly, I'm just gonna copy paste that quickly. We can have the second row, first column, and the second row, second column equal to 3 and 4. So these four lines over here, and this one line over here means essentially the same thing. And if you are doing this, you don't need to do this part. If you are doing this part, you don't need to do this part. We can have more. Over here we can have 2, 3, and for that we need to enter one more values in each of these. And we can have more number of rows, more number of columns. Right now we are just going to stick with 2 cross 2 vector, 2 cross 2 matrix. And now I'm going to show you how do we print this. We need to have 2 loops. One for the number of rows and other for the columns. So this will be our rows and this will be our columns. And as you can see, maximum number of rows we can have are 2, and maximum number of columns we can have is 2. To make you convenient, I can give this 3, and we'll have more values over here, 3, 4, and 5. So let's just print this quickly. Here's how we start our for loop. For r equal to 0, cause our array start from 0 to the size minus 1, so number of rows is 2, so 2 minus 1 is 1, so it will run for 2 rows for 0 and 1, and we want our number of rows to increment 1 by 1. And now inside this number of rows, for each row we have a column. And how many columns do we have? 3. So for each row we have 3 columns. So now we want for each row work for 3 columns. So we are going to have a loop for columns. And again, the columns start from 0 to the maximum number of columns minus 1, so less than 3. Instead of less than 3, you can have less than equal to 2. That's the same thing, but we are just going to keep it less than 3. C++, because we want our column to be touched 1 by 1. And then we will be printing the value of a, an integer, and again an integer, and which equals to an integer. And I'm not gonna leave a line over here. I'm gonna replace my first person d by I, second by j, and the third will be the a at the index of I and j. So that's what I'm gonna do. And after this for loop ends, so see, because this for loop has only one statement, I need not have curly brackets. I can put this in curly brackets. That's the same thing, but since it's just one statement, I'm just gonna keep it at this. And now, where was I? I was saying about something about line. So now what will happen is that for each row, this loop will print every column. For the first row first, then the next row, then the next row, then the next row. And say I want to have a new line after each row. So what will happen is the first row will start over here. It will start printing each column for the first row, and once it has done printing each column for the first row, this loop will end, and the execution will continue from here where I'm writing this print f a new line. So essentially this means that after you have printed every column, insert a new line. Then we are going to end our for loop for the print. We're going to save it. We're going to compile it, gccara.c, because that's my file name. And there's the error, because we have left the j undeclared. And oh, okay, we should using the r and c over here, but I have used I and j because of my habit. So let's just replace this r by c and r and c. So this will be like a, the number of row, the number of column, and it is equal to that. So let's just compile it again. Then we're going to run it .a.out, and as you can see, it printed me what I wanted to. A00 is 1, A01 is 2, A02 is 3, and then A10 is 3, A11 is 4, A12 is 5. If you correlate these values with these initializations, you will find that they had in the same order, because A01 is 1, A00 is 1, sorry, A01 is 2, A02 is 3, and A10 is 3, A11 is 4, A12 is 5. So as you can see, we corresponded these, and these are the same thing. And now to take the input, we have the similar loop, not similar, actually same loop, and instead of printf, you know it, we'll do scanf. We will take the number and we will put it into our variable, which will go inside the array A at the index, at the row R and the column C. So let me just quickly show that to you that it works. I'm gonna run it. Okay, so I will put my first row as 2, 3, 4. You can separate the numbers by space. So this is my first row, enter. The next row, 4, 5, 6. Okay, here we go. So the first row is 2, 3, 4. Let me just leave a space over here so you can see it better. GCC 2, 3, 4. This is my first row. Now the second row. This, in case you're wondering why it's leaving 2 line, it's because of this print line, new line. So now I'm gonna say 5, 6, 7. So, as you can see, 0, 0 is 2, 0, 1 is 3, 0, 2 is 4, A1, 0 is 5, A1, 1 is 6, A1, 2 is 7. So what are these R and C's and how does it work? So let's just do a dry run over here quickly. First, R is equal to 0. It comes inside. C is equal to 0. 0 is less than 3. So this will run. What will happen is it will take input in A, R. It will do this. A, R is 0 right now. And C is also 0 right now. Equal to input. That's what it's going to do. And then C will increment by 1. So now C will become, instead of 0, it will now 1. And then C will become 2. So then C will become 3, since 3 is not less than 3. And this loop will exit. It will print a new line. So as you can see, it printed a new line after here. And we separated the numbers by using space instead of enter. You can just press enter instead of the space over here. It's the same thing essentially. So back to where we were. It will print a new line. And then the R will get incremented. Now the R will become 1. C will be again 0 because this code will run again. So C will first be equated to 0. 0 is less than 3. So we come in over here. And now this will happen. A1 0 equal to your input. Then C will be incremented to 1. So A11 will be equal to your input. Then C will increment it to 2. So A12 will be equal to your input. And that's pretty much it for the run. Because now C will be incremented. C will be equal to 3. 3 is not less than 3. This loop will exit. It will leave a new line right here. Then R will be incremented because this loop has done executing. So now it's time to increment R. R will become equal to 2. 2 is not less than 2. So this loop will exit. Similarly, it will follow the same pattern for this printing loop. And then this will print. Because if you just, let me just show you the right run of one iteration. R is equal to 0. R is equal to 0. So now it comes inside. C will be equal to 0. 0 is less than 3. Now it prints like this. A value of R, which is 0. Value of C, which is again 0 right now, is equal to A0, comma A0. A variable is 0 and C is 0. So it will print this. And as you can see, it printed this. So it will print 2. So similarly, now the I will increment. Oh, sorry, C will increment. C will become equal to 1. It will print A 0 because R stays the same. C is 1 now. And then it prints the value of A at the row 0 and the column 1. And then again, it prints the same thing for the column 2. It prints, because C is again incremented, C is now 2. R is still 0 because this loop has not done executing yet, because of this loop is still executing. So it prints R at 0th row and the second column. The value of A is equal to 4. Here's how. At the row R, column C, the value of A is 4. And then finally this loop is completed its execution. So it will now continue the execution from here, print a new line, and then R will be incremented to 1. So now we see the output of row 1, column 0 first, then row 1, column 1 first, and then row 1, column 2, to this. So this is how our 2D arrays is. In the next video, we are going to practice about some 2D arrays. If you have any doubts, you can leave it in the comment section below. I will be happy to help you guys. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.